some depth at the center position.
I was going to ask him about Brew McCoy.
Yeah. All right, so some other news here before we get into some top 30 visits that broke earlier. So the Packers finally announced their 2025 coaching staff with titles. This was Rob Demovsky put this tweet out. There are 6 newcomers: DeMarcus Covington, Luke Getsy, Corey Harkey, Jeremiah Colon, Jeff Kuntz, and Jamal Lett. The big one here,
Luke Getsy is not a newcomer. Stop it.
Well, he is right now, Tim. I mean,
technically speaking,
he probably changed his social security number after spending time in Chicago. You know what I mean? That's got to be a rough look down there. But the one I'm most excited about, if you'll notice here, is DeMarcus Covington. Right? We just kind of assumed he was going to be the defensive line coach. You guys know, former defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots under Gerard Mayo. People hear that and they go, "But they were bad, Clayton." Yeah, but you got to understand, like 6 or 7 years leading up to that, I believe it was, Belichick handpicked him to be in his building working on defense for him. And they had some really solid defenses down the stretch there. So the fact that DeMarcus Covington is now being confirmed is the new defensive line coach as well as the run game coordinator. If you'll remember last year, Coach Campanelli, the linebacker coach who got the defensive coordinator job in, I think, Jacksonville. He is DeMarcus Covington's taking over that run game coordinator spot as well. So I'm excited about that. I'm just glad to see that it was actually confirmed. I think we're going to see immediate impact from this. And what's really cool when you look at it now, Jeff Hafley, former head coach at BC, right? He's your defensive coordinator. Derek Ansley, your passing game coordinator on defense, former defensive coordinator for the Chargers. DeMarcus Covington, defensive line coach, run game coordinator, former defensive coordinator for the Patriots. It's just, you've got so many guys in this building that have so much experience. And the fact that you've got basically a head coach and 2 former defensive coordinators leading the charge in both passing game coordinator and run game coordinator, I'm excited to see what he does with this defensive line. What's your all's take on that? We'll start with you this time, Tim.
Yeah, don't sleep on Coach Ogabasi too. Assistant D-line. We saw our D-line take a step last year. We got better against the run. You know, there was a lot to be excited about with him being there. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Ben Searman's, you know, back once again as our running back coach for, I don't know, the 250th year or whatever this is for him. It's good to see, you know, long-term retention on that side of the ball. A lot to be excited about, but yeah, I'm a defensive guy, and I think Hafley's got a nice squad here. It did suck to lose our Italian stallion there in the linebacker room, but you know, onward and upward, and I feel really good about where this defense is at, especially you know, Ryan Downard, I believe second or third season as the DB coach, you know, making his ascent here in the coaching ranks in the NFL. So there's a good balance with our staff, I think, on the defensive side of the ball with veteran leadership and some new faces that are trying to make a name for themselves in this league. So a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, Emilio, there's several things that come to mind too. Like Sean Mannion, as Coach Lynn mentions here in this comment, Sean Mannion was studying under, the all-time QB coach. What was his name again? It's leaving me. Just
Tom Clements.
Yep.
What is it?
Clements.
Tom.
Oh, Clements. Yeah. So Sean Mannion got to study under him. Now he takes over, right? If I remember correctly, as the quarterback's coach full time. Now Luke Getsy, wasn't he the offensive coordinator in Chicago? Am I thinking right? That was the job he got down there. So now you have a former offensive coordinator who's seen what that's like. He was the QB coach before, I believe, in Green Bay. So now you've got him back in the building as a senior assistant. There's all kinds of experience in this room, and I'm excited about it. What do you think about it? And John Dunn, I want to mention this, a couple of different things here, Emilio. Adam Stenavich, Jason Woody done a hell of a job talking about him and how Adam Stenavich was the mastermind behind the Tucker Kraft sneak. Actually, it was his idea to do that. And then if you'll remember, John Dunn, he had drew up a play for Christian Watson, I think it was last year.
Right.
Remember, they drew that up on the fly. Matt LaFleur being the great leader he is, you know, you absorb criticism and you redistribute praise. When they said, man, that was a heck of a play call, he's like, yeah, actually John Dunn, our tight ends coach, drew that up on the sidelines. So what do you think about this new staff here, Emilio?
I mean, I like how it's all coming together, right? You know, I think that it's going to be huge having a couple of, you know, Luke Getsy and then also Sean Mannion in there helping Jordan out. Who they know Tom. They've learned from Tom. Okay, Sean, what can you teach Jordan? What can you do to help him get better? Is there anything that we can do to, you know, make this offense hum a little bit more? Not like we were terrible last year, but let's get it cooking. And I like that, everybody, they have their place, but they're not afraid to speak up. It's going to be a team effort to get this thing. For us to get over the hump, whatever it is in the playoffs, for us to get by, it's got to be a team effort. We're not going to be able to do it, one at a time. Matt's going to have to take some notes from here, and here. Adam's going to have to take some notes. Let's get the O-line going, build that wall. Let's do all the things that's going to make this offense hum. And I'm excited about it. Seriously, get Jason Vrabel in here. Let's just get it all done.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned him. Vrabel to passing game coordinator. That'll be interesting to see. The looks with him and Tupac LaFleur out there on offense for sure.
Definitely. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I really do wish we were somehow, some way able to keep Campanelli. That dude was just a jar of lightning. You know what I mean? That guy made me want to run through a brick wall every time he talked.
He was the best guy around.
I am actually intrigued. I don't think anybody brought up Luke Butkus, and what he's done with that offensive line. I mean, that to me, I think is going to be one of the stronger rooms. I really like the Sean Mannion, like you talked about, him and Stenovich, hopefully, and Getsy being able to hopefully take another step with Jordan and really, really try to get the most out of him. And then again, like Tim said, that Vince Okabasi, that's probably my new favorite coach that we have. I hope that he's able to really invigorate that offense or the defensive line again. And then isn't that Ryan Downard? He's a fairly young guy, right? And
yeah.
Been around.
I think it's his second year as the DB coach.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought he was around for a couple of years. I'm impressed with him. I hope that maybe him and Hafley spend a little more time focusing on that DB room, because if we could take a position group that on paper doesn't look maybe the strongest right now, and if we just have a couple tweaks and a few guys make some significant steps, I mean, we could have a really put together defense and a whole team.
As Fred McFarley says here, Coach Camp knew how to fuel the meat missiles, no doubt. So,
oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Someone in here asked, Respect Orange is so Saleh's probably still going to be around this season. He's actually the DC in San Francisco again. Yep. So Kyle Shanahan said, that's enough of that over there helping Green Bay. Come back.
Did you by chance listen to
see that season the Niners had last year? Of course.
Yeah.
Of course they got Bob Saleh.
Did you listen to the interview Ross Tucker had with Fred Warner?
No. Was he good?
It was, dude, Fred Warner is a stud, man. I mean, he's just such a good dude. But he was talking about how Robert Saleh was the only one that basically had any faith in him, because Fred Warner was basically kind of like a tweener edge rusher at BYU, and nobody thought he could play stack backer. And Saleh had him do 40 reps at some sort of defensive some sort of exercise or whatever. And he's like, this dude can play stack backer. And they were like, no, he can't. And he's like, just watch. And he put him out there, and lo and behold, he's could be a future Hall of Famer at some point.
Yeah, which I got to say this, man. They announced this. Just made me think of this. Joseph saying, just want to say Coop, and you talking about Fred Warner. Obviously, it sounds like Jahad Campbell has been invited to the draft.
Yes,
well, as I'm telling you, if he's there at 23, and we pull the trigger on him, he may miss a little time early, but that's another dude that was a pass rusher. They converted him to stack backer, and he was just as good a stack backer as he was rushing the passer. That guy with Coop long-term, and if it clicks for Quay this year, imagine those three together. You re-sign Quay, you got the other two on rookie contracts, and you know what? If it don't click for Quay and you have someone like Jahad Campbell, I know that Twitter will blow up. Don't get me wrong. Fans will not like it if they take Jahad Campbell at 23. But that dude, he is an absolute stud, I believe, out of Bama. He's just one of those guys that arrives angry, and he's not just a physical freak. He's not one of those dudes not the dog on Quay. Quay was an absolute, he was a unicorn when it come to physical ability, 6 foot, all the things, right? Jahad Campbell, you turn on the tape in college, and it's like this dude can play backer. So I'm not saying it would be my first choice, but I damn sure would not be upset about it if they went with Jahad Campbell at pick 23. It's just how quick can he get back from that injury? Some people are saying it's going to be November. Others are saying, no, he'll be ready for camp. Those laborums can be a little tricky. So definitely not off to the best start. Now, if he starts to fall and makes it to the second round, maybe you trade up and grab him. That sounds a lot better.